Bismillah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Loiza Divana Karasha and I am from 8A grade. And in this occasion, I want to present you my showing video about Steve Jobs' 2005 Stanford Commencement address. Enjoy the video! I'm honored to be with you today at your commencement from one of the finest universities in the world. Truth be told, I never graduated from college, and this is the closest I've ever gotten to a college graduation. Today, I want to tell you about a story from my life. The story is about connecting the dots. I dropped out of grade college after the first 6 months, but then stayed around as drop-in for another 18 months or so before I really quit. So why did I drop out? It started before I was born. My biological mother was a young, unwed college graduate student and she decided to put me up for adoption. She felt very strongly that I should be adopted by college graduates. So everything was all set for me to be adopted at birth by a lawyer and his wife. Except that when I popped out, they decided at the last minute that they really wanted a girl. So my parents, who were on waiting list, got a call in the middle of the night asking, "We have an unexpected baby boy. Do you want him?" They said, "Of course." My biological mother found out later that my mother had never graduated from college and that my father had never graduated from high school. She refused to sign the final adoption papers. She only relented a few months later when my parents promised that I would go to college. This was the start in my life. And 17 years later, I did go to college. But I naively chose the college that was almost as expensive as Stanford. And all of my working class parents' savings were being spent on my college tuition. After 6 months, I couldn't see value in it. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and no idea how college was going to help me figure it out. And here I was spending all of the money my parents had saved their entire life. So I decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out okay. It was very scary at the time. I could stop taking the required classes that didn't trust me and began dropping in on the ones that looked far more interesting. It wasn't all romantic. I didn't have a dorm room, so I slept on the floor in friend's room. I returned Coke bottles for 5 cent deposit to buy food with, and I would walk 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. I loved it, and much what I stumbled into my by following my curiosity and intuition turned out to be priceless later on. Let me give you one example. Reed College at the time offered perhaps the best calligraphy instruction in the country. Throughout the campus, every poster, every label on every drawer was beautifully hand calligraphed. Because I had dropped out, and didn't have to take the normal classes, I decided to take calligraphy class to learn how to do this. I learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, about varying the amount of space between different letter combinations, about what makes great typography great. It was beautiful, historical, artistically subtle in a way that science can capture. And I found it fascinating. None of this had even had a hope of any practical application in my life. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all come back to me. And we designed it all into Mac. It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced font. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no personal computer would have them. If I had never dropped out, I would have never dropped in on this calligraphy class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something. Your God, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well worn path, and that will make all the difference. So, yeah, the conclusion that I can take from this speech is that trust the journey even when it doesn't make sense at the moment. Life may seem uncertain, but every experience, success, or struggle can become meaningful in ways you can predict. By following your curiosity, intuition, and passion, the pieces will eventually fall into place. You may not see how the dots connect now, but looking back, you realize they form your unique path. Believe in yourself and have the courage to take risks, even if the road isn't clear. So yeah, maybe that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'm so sorry if there are any mistake in this video. And yeah, the last I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye.